Hey everyone, Nate Lindquist here with FlipChick Wealth Academy, and this is your bonus training. We're going to be doing more and more of these as we move forward. And in this training, I want to give you a tool that's created an amazing shift in my life and also Margaret's and a lot of clients who we've worked with over the years. And we call it your personal balance habit. So in this training, I'm going to share with you how to create your personal balance habit. And by the time you're done this training, all you simply have to do is go through the steps that I share with you, keep it simple, and just do what you say you're going to do. So I'm going to give you the exact steps that you need to follow. Now, my reason for sharing this with you is I think that a lot of people spend time studying things like, personal success rituals and, David Allen and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and all that. But I think that what's generally missing from a lot of those life balance and productivity programs is just the simplicity of creating a ritual, creating something simple, doing something every day. The fact is, to feel a sense of progress, you want to compound that progress over time. When you do something once, it's an experience. It's a one-time thing. It's kind of like a lot of people you'll hear in the new year have started out on a resolution, and their resolution is to go get fit. And then they might work out for a month or a month and a half or even just a day or a week, but that's not really going to create personal balance. It's a sense of this intense push and then falling off and not really achieving the goal that you want. So knowing that investing in real estate and improving your life by creating passive income, building portfolios, flipping real estate, all of that requires rituals. It requires habits. And to really own what you're creating in your life and in your business, it needs to become a habit, because if you don't do it repeatedly, you really can't own it. So as we go through this, just understand, if you could just give this your undivided attention right now, I'm going to tell you that 30 days from now, 60 days from now, you're going to feel a sense of progress and of balance. You're going to have a new set of tools to see how you track and create consistency and balance and even more success in what you're building in your business. So creating your personal success habit. Let's take a closer look at how this works. So think about some of the people that you've met throughout your life and business, people who are successful, people who aren't successful. Well, we've all met people who just seem to have it all together, and we wonder what it is about them that impresses us so much. As I think about this, sometimes you can't really put your finger on it. You don't know why people seem to be more successful than others or why they're so impressive. So I've broken it down pretty simply. As a matter of fact, I meet people like this all the time, and it's a constant reminder of how I want to continuously improve my game. So there's 2 primary factors that make people seem better at keeping it together, keeping this life balance and having that sense of having it together. And it's a lot of times they're better at it than us. So when they're really good at that, first, usually they have personal standards and boundaries, and they demonstrate them in our interactions with them. So maybe you'll call them and ask if they can have a meeting with you for a minute, and they'll tell you, actually, they may not even answer your call because they're busy focusing on a project that they're trying to move forward. But chances are you'll get an email from them or a text message. A lot of times these days, it would be like an instant message, like from Facebook Messenger, which is something that's responded to 80 to 90% more than email. Or you might get an email, or you might get both, where they send you a link to their scheduler where you can pick the time on their calendar where they've put aside 15 minutes or 20-minute segments of time, blocks of time on their calendar where they could give you their undivided attention. But when you go in there, they'll also ask a couple questions as to what you'd like to accomplish on the call, so they can make the decision whether they're going to actually schedule the meeting or not. So that's a really good example of how people demonstrate personal standards, rules, and boundaries. And they might say things like, you might say, hey, I'd really like you to, help me on this project. And someone will say flat out, no, that's not something I'm interested in doing, but I'd be more than happy to stay in touch. Maybe they'll suggest a book or a resource or someone else you might talk to. But if it's not something that really moves them forward or something that's in alignment with their values, they have no problem saying no. So again, that's personal standards and boundaries. Again, if they have something that's important in their life, it doesn't mean they're selfish. They might say, listen, I'd love to have that conversation, but I have to be at an appointment. And even if that appointment is with themselves, they hold themselves accountable to their schedule and to their commitments. Maybe they're getting ready to go for a run, or maybe it's really important that during this time they're working on something else. But they seem amazingly prepared. So the second is they demonstrate the power of consistency, meaning they don't seem to be figuring out something new, a new plan. Here's how I'm going to do things now all the time. They're consistent in many ways that are obvious to us. And it could be a matter of, they're eating healthy. They're making strong health choices, nutrition choices. You can tell that they're sharp and they're paying attention. They're good at asking questions, and they're consistent in the way they demonstrate their own way of showing up in the world. So how do you put that in place? How do you get that in place for yourself? Well, a powerful way to have this in your own life is to create your personal balance habit. So what we're going to look at first is just starting with 4 areas of life that we'd like to balance. And you can always add more, but for now, let's just look at establishing some momentum in these 4, if that's okay. For me, I always like to say, when I'm doing my planning, and I use a very a process that it utilizes this personal balance process, these personal balance habits. I like to make everything big and important right now, and it ends up that I put 20 times more than I could possibly do on my schedule for the day, when there's really only 1 or 2 things that absolutely have to get done. So I've worked really hard on this because I wasn't really good at it, and I'm still constantly improving. So let's just pick 4. And even I can tell you this, even if you just created 1 new habit and tracked it for 30 days, you'll start to get the power and the momentum of what it's like to notice if you're doing what you said you're going to do. And doing what you say you're going to do is a huge strength in building success of your business, whatever that business is for. So even real estate or any other business that you have. So, all right, so let's look at the 4 areas of life that we'd like to balance. And let's build some momentum. The first would be physical. So what I want you to do is just look at this area of your life, look at the physical area of your life, and say, okay, what's one thing you're going to do every single day, starting right now, starting today, and when are you going to do it? So what are you going to do every single day, and when are you going to do it? So for me, it's a 30-minute workout, a minimum 30-minute workout, and I schedule that at 6 o'clock in the morning, every single morning. Now on the weekend, I give myself flexibility to just shift the time, but I stick to the fact that I'm going to do a 30-minute workout. Now I have further details on the tool that I use for scheduling. Put on my calendar, I can look at the notes, and I know that I have certain exercising that I do, and certain lifting, certain cardio or aerobic or anaerobic exercise. I have certain stretching and yoga that I do. So I know I'm going to commit to a minimum of 30 minutes during the days of the week. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to commit to at least 30 minutes of some version as well. So that's my, that's my physical area of life. And I want to establish momentum in doing that so I can have balance, personal balance in that area. Okay. The next one is social. Now you can come up with, again, whatever habit you'd like to create. But for social, what I have is reach out. I have a time on Wednesdays when I reach out to friends, or I will look at the friends who people who I love to stay in touch with, and I want to proactively reach out to. I think we all love it when someone reaches out and remembers us, but how often do we remember to reach out and connect with somebody else? So I have a group of people who I'm very close to, who I like to reach out to consistently. And I know that I get a reminder on Wednesday, hey, did you do this? It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it on Wednesday, but it means that I'm going to remind myself to reach out and nurture those relationships, to creatively show up, to follow up on something that I know they're dealing with, to connect with them, to invite them to get together. Maybe we'll work out, maybe we'll discuss a book, or something that's going on in our lives. Maybe we'll just check in. So that's a social habit, and you can have any kind of social habit. Maybe you'll have, each day of the week or once a week, however you want to do it, where you're going to be thinking about something socially that you'd like to have as part of your life balance. And social is really important. It's easy to get caught in our own world and then look up months later and say, wow, I haven't really connected with anyone outside of my own world. And it's easy to become super self-centered in that way. So I know it's something that I've had to work on. All right, the third area is mental. So for me, my success ritual is reading 1 chapter of a book, sticking with 1 book, and every day reading 1 chapter. The one that I'm working on right now is from one of my early mentors, who I started working with back in 2008, Evan Pagan's Opportunity. I just finished The Way of the Seal for the second time. Very good book from Mark Divine, and lots of systems and processes for improving the way you show up with The Way of the Seal and some of the lessons from the Navy SEALs. So in this one, Evan Pagan talks about how to recognize, take advantage of, capitalize, prioritize which opportunities you're going to focus on or not. So one chapter of a book every day, and I have a time where I schedule that. So you want to think about, again, what time you're going to do this, and you can make this as important as the work you're going to get to, or other roles, because if you put it down, you decide and schedule it, then you make certain that you follow through. It's very important. And spiritual, so I have meditate for 10 minutes and actually leave myself 15 minutes because I have to pick out which meditation I'm going to do. Generally, I stick with one style of meditation. Sometimes I use the Deepak Chopra 21-day meditation. Other times I'll use the Tao Te Ching, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life from Wayne Dyer. Sometimes I just use an app that helps with meditation. And but I schedule 10 minutes, a minimum of 10 minutes in the morning. And it helps me to have a personal balance, which is a wonderful, wonderful gift. So now here's the key to making these successful at creating balance in your life. The first is you want to define what exactly will the habit be. So what are you going to do and for how long? And then you want to schedule it, number 2. So put it on your calendar, block that time out, repeat it. Which days are you going to do it? And make sure there's a way that you can check off or keep track of whether you did or whether you didn't. This is really good to be able to check. There's nothing worse than when someone says, hey, you said you were going to call me, or we had an appointment, and you don't show up because you forgot that this was important to you, because you didn't have a way to track it. So now you're going to build the muscles of focus and consistency and tracking your personal balance habits. All right. And then 3, be accountable to your calendar. So again, once you put this on the calendar, if someone calls and says, hey, I'd love to go to lunch with you, and what you have on that calendar is a run or a workout, or if someone says, hey, let's go watch a movie, if you have an appointment with yourself, your appointment with yourself, this personal balance that you're creating in your life is something that's a muscle. And if you don't honor and hold yourself accountable to your calendar, your commitments to yourself or to other people, you'll be known as the person who doesn't have it together, who can't follow through. And maybe it's not the end of the world to miss an appointment with yourself or with someone else, but in the end, it becomes a measure of your character. And I know that it's, for me, it's been a huge source of strength. So as step 4, just remember, tip number 4, see these habits, these new habits that you're tracking as a foundation to your strength in all areas of your life. So put these in place. Absolutely put these in place. Go back, watch this video again. Make sure that you take notes on it and take action on it. And I'll be very excited to hear some feedback and hear how it's all going. We can certainly discuss it on our calls and implement it in the work that you're doing. I'm certainly glad to have guided you through it, and we'll have more bonus videos coming soon. So enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon.